This is Kay Kritiques. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Kay Kritiques, where we discuss all things South African television. And today we are breaking down Adulting Season 2, Episode 3 and 4. Without any further ado, let us get into these two episodes because a lot happened. So you guys already know the drill. I'm gonna go by each and every character one by one and discuss their storyline. We are going to start off with Vuyani. Vuyani, we see that he is owing the gym some money, and the owner of the gym comes to him and is like, if you want to continue your classes, you need to pay me. And he's like, no, give me a few months, I promise. He's like, listen, I'm running a business here, which is valid. Like, Vuyani, you need to get your things in order. You need to be focused on your bag and you need to be on top of things. Like, if you want to make more money, you need to spend money. We see a client named Portia who actually wants private lessons, but we all know what she really wants. I was kind of hoping that he doesn't fall back into old patterns. You need to better your life and just stay away from all of this, and you have a girlfriend that you're committed to. But anyways, he goes to borrow money from Bonga. He goes to borrow 50,000 rand from Bonga, and I'm like, this is the worst person you could have asked, but then who else can he ask? And obviously Bonga's like, I just paid my workers, I don't have money, this and that. Meanwhile, he has millions of rands from his tender, but then he was like, I just started a new project, so I had to bid for it, I had to pay contractors, I had to pay workers. Now please hold on to this one piece of information. Since Bonga declines, he goes to the sugar mama, and I'm just like, the sugar mama like tries to tempt him and flirt with him, but he tries to refuse, which I'm very proud of, because I feel like in the past he probably would have given in, but then the lady just sends him 30,000 rand instantly and he gives in. Obviously, I'm not blaming him. 30,000 rand, I was just hoping, okay, now that you have this money, pay the gym. But what does he do? He takes out Zelda, he buys her jewelry. Like, he was literally spending all this money, and I'm like, Vuyani, you cannot live the same lifestyle you used to live when you had a sugar mama. Like, you can't try and live that same lifestyle. You can't try and compete with all Bonga who have millions. Live within your means. You're a gym instructor, and that's okay. Like, don't try and flaunt and buy this and buy that. Like, actually try and save for the future. So as long as you don't have financial restraints, you're not gonna get anywhere. And then we see him and Zelda have a little bit of a problem because his insecurities come out. So when they went to Bonga's party, which we will talk about in a couple of seconds, when they go to Bonga's party, she breaks her phone and she's like, baby, my screen cracked, I need a new one, blah blah blah. And Vuyani's like, I'm gonna take it to my friend and then they're gonna fix it. And she's like, no, you have to fix it at the store. So demanding. That time she's not even the one paying for the screen, but anyways, she's like, no, we have to go fix it at the store, blah 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 blah. And the following day she comes back with a new phone, and then she's like, her company bought her the phone. They realized that her phone was broken, and then when she came back from lunch, the phone was on her desk. Yeah, she definitely has a blesser. And Vuyani clocked it so quickly. He was like, you're making me a fool. Like, I've played this game before, I am playing your game. But for me, it's like, you're also cheating, Vuyani. So I don't think you literally have a leg to stand. I don't think he has a leg to stand on, since he's also sleeping with sugar mamas on the side. Like, you have no right to demand loyalty from her, even though she doesn't know that. And we actually find out that this is a married woman. Her husband, Portia's husband, actually comes home, but they were dressed luckily so they didn't get caught. But it was just sort of awkward. But then obviously Portia still paid him again, and I'm like, has this guy paid the gym? Like, I just need them to show us a scene where the gym instructor's like, okay, I received your payment, so that I can calm down, because if he still hasn't paid off the gym, then he is definitely paying himself. I just don't want to see Vuyani's hard work of him trying to get himself where he is going all down the drain. Like, he's one of the characters that I'm always rooting for. Since season 1, I've been rooting for Vuyani, so I really do hope he doesn't disappoint me. But we see that even his relationship with Zelda isn't really all it's cracked up to be, because I don't think Zelda even rates Vuyani. Like, I don't think Zelda even likes or loves Vuyani. I think she's just using him for money. I feel like Zelda is literally Vuyani in woman form. She's doing the same thing that Vuyani used to do to all his sugar mamas, like date around and get the big bag, and then have somebody who doesn't really have that much money that you're gonna be quote unquote committed to, even though you don't love them and you're still chasing the bag. Because they talk about their future. Zelda's all focused on the bag, on the money, which is great. Like, do you, girl? She wants to make partner at her law firm. She wants to excel. She wants to have millions. She wants to make money. She loves money. Like, when she's thinking about her future, that's the only thing she's focused on, finances, whereas it needs to be a holistic approach. But I get her. I mean, girl, get your bag, and don't let a man slow you down. You're still young, you're still building your career, and I feel like while you're doing that, especially like with law, where you have to do your articles, you have to do all this to make partner, you have to work very hard. And if you have a child and a family, they usually sometimes do sideline you, because they're like, you already have a lot on your plate, we need somebody who's a go-getter. Vuyani doesn't want that. Vuyani wants a family, wants kids, and she's like uncomfortable when that conversation comes up, and she's like, whoa, we need to establish some things. We need to have assets. We need to have a house. We need to have this and that before we even think about getting married and having kids. And Vuyani can see, this is not going anywhere. I don't think I'll be able to provide. And he can't sleep with sugar mamas his whole entire life. So rather just find. That's why I'm saying, Vuyani, just live within your means, because this girl loves money and you don't have it. But yeah, that was all on Vuyani. And now let's get into Bonga. Now, Bonga didn't really have a big storyline. In the last 2 episodes, he also didn't really have a major plot point. And in the storyline, he did, but he wasn't really featured. This episode was mostly centered around Mpho and Eric, which I'm grateful for, because Eric really didn't get that much screen time in last season. It was mostly focused on Bonga and Kanyezi. But this season, they are really focusing on the other gents, which I am grateful for. But also, they need to balance it out where they don't underdevelop Bonga's storyline. So anyways, Bonga, he's turning 33. At first he said he's turning 35, then all of a sudden it's his 33rd birthday. So I was very confused. And one thing that actually irks me, one thing that actually concerned me, was when he was like, yeah, I'm gonna fetch all the girls, the university girls at Res, and we're gonna have fun and what. And I'm like, why are you still going after university students when you're like 33? Like, those kids are like 18, 19, and you're 33. Like, why? Like, what level of communication do you have with a university student? Him and Vuyani, because even in the previous season, Vuyani was going after a little like a university student, like a first year university student. So that child was like 18. That's very weird, and it's giving very much so predator vibes. I'm gonna keep saying this. Like, I like Bonga as a character, but that concerned me. And also the way he jokes, quote unquote jokes, with his friends sometimes. It's kind of weird. Like, he'll say things like, oh, at least I'm not married and cheating on my wife. Oh, I'm not a gym instructor. Oh, I'm not a convict. Like, Bonga, like, as much as we joke around with our friends, but he's always trying to make himself seem better, or he's always asserting that he's better than them because of their flaws. Meanwhile, he also has his own flaws, but he doesn't see them over that big head of his. But anyways, he's planning this big bash. Like, there's gonna be a lot of girls, there's gonna be a lot of booze, they're gonna have fun. He's even thinking of hiring Mthembu, and literally Minki's is trying to insert herself in their conversation while they're busy planning this party, and none of them like Minki. And you can see how awkward they are when she keeps trying to talk and insert herself in their conversation. Ubonga's like, Eric, I do not want this girl at my party. They get into it a bit because now Erica's like, oh, so the reason why you don't want us at your party is because I'm a convict. And Bonga's like, I didn't say you can't come to my party. I just said don't bring her because she's gonna scare all the girls. She's ghetto, this and that. But then they sort it out, and at the party, everybody shows up, and even Utira was there. He was the DJ, and it looked lit. And who does Eric bring? He brings Minki, even though Bonga asked him not to bring her, which I feel like, okay, it's your girl, and obviously, like, you're loyal to your girl, but at the same time, be like, if I don't want somebody at my birthday party, you can't bring that person just because you feel like it. Like, it's my party, not yours. And you know, Bonga's sex addiction is really starting to concern me as well. He was literally having sex with this girl, then this girl, then that girl, then the other girl in the same night, and then it actually causes some drama because I'm gonna call them concubines. All his girls, the girls that he slept with, they actually try to come into his bedroom, and then they all find each other there. Then they all start fighting. They try to beat up Ubonga, and he's like, "Get the F out of my house!" And he's shouting, he's screaming. It was literally a mess, and I'm like, why not just stick to one girl for the night? Why are you sleeping with like 10 girls? The following day, his dad comes to his house. This guy, he comes and he says he has cancer. I didn't believe it. This guy is a con man. He's lying just to try and get money out of Bonga. That was the only thing that I was thinking. Like, I didn't believe it from the start, but Ubonga was distraught and tries to take him to the doctor. He doesn't want to go to the doctor, which was another sign for me that it's either he's lying about having cancer or there's something fishy going on here. He would rather go to Isangoma instead of a medical doctor. And I'm even like, Bonga, why are you even entertaining this guy? He didn't even say happy birthday, happy belated birthday when he showed up. He's just showing up and saying that, hey, expensive alcohol, drinking your alcohol and doing all of this. I would never allow deadbeats to come back into my life. I'm not doing that. Okay, but anyways, Ubonga, he decides, you know what, enough is enough. We need to go to the doctor and see if there's anything we do. We can't just have you eating your herbs and then also drinking alcohol the whole day because you're not taking this illness seriously. Forces him to go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, okay, your father has stage 4 prostate cancer and he wasn't taking treatment this time. This could have been prevented. He decided not to go for treatment, and I bet you he only came back into their lives so that his wife, Bonga's mom, can take care of him because he's dying and he doesn't want to die alone, which would be disgusting if that was his game plan, because he was busy gallivanting with all of these women and he's even proud of it, busy telling all that gents stories about how he hooked up with like 12 girls in one night and all of this. And in all of this, he doesn't remember that he was married to Bonga's mom. Then you expect me to believe that he actually went back to his wife because he loves her? Nah, fam. But obviously, it's your parent. At the end of the day, it's his father. At the end of the day, he still loves his father. So he hasn't told his wife that he has cancer. And Ubonga's like, why haven't you told mom that you have cancer? Then he's like, I need to be strong. I can't just die. Like, and hurt her feelings. What am I going to tell her? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, but why did you tell Bonga? Why do you want now the burden to be on Ubonga to look after you, to know that you have cancer and all of this? Is it to try and guilt trip him? Like, what is it? Eric. Minki's has moved in and has cemented herself into this household. Girl, you only met the other day. Why are you at this man's house? And he's busy cooking breakfast, which I found very disrespectful because the grandmother was like, bruh, what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? I don't want you in my house. I don't want you cooking. I don't want you doing anything in my house. You need to leave. And this girl doesn't leave and doesn't respect elders. Hi, bo. Even when the pastor comes, so the pastor still wants Eric to come back to church. Minki comes out in this short thing and bends over in front of Pastor's face. Hey, boy, Minki, not even a little bit of respect. That's when I knew. I'm just like, this girl is not good for Eric. Like, Eric, your sole focus should be Unqumisa. You should be trying to build a life and build a loyal clientele instead of trying to chase after toxic girls that are not going to do anything for you, because you do not want this energy around your daughter unless you want the Minkis to influence your daughter to turn out like her. And then obviously all of a sudden Eric Naye, he's playing into this role. He's now controlling and possessive all of a sudden, and I'm just like, I just know from that one scene, I just knew this is gonna be toxic as hell. But I did appreciate the one scene where Minkis actually does a bubble bath for Eric, and that was actually sweet. It was acts of service. He was also very excited because she was like, I know that you're a tough guy and you always have to put up this facade that you're strong, you're tough, but tough guys also need softness too. He's like, just get in, I did this for you. There were candles all around, and he was so very excited, Shiv, and I was touched a little bit. I was like, Minkies, you kind of have one point on your side here, but I'm still not convinced by you, but you ate up this little one thing. And like we discussed, when Bonga was having his party, he got upset that Minki's was there.
Eric was still insecure about the fact that he's a convict and all of that.
And also the way that Bonga constantly brings up the fact that Eric just came out of prison, that he's a convict, and yeah, Bonga needs to do better about how he speaks to his fans, because his words do hurt actually. But anyways, at Bonga's party, Eric is busy at the bar speaking to a lady, and they're literally having such an innocent conversation, but obviously Minki sees it, and I'm like, so Eric is never allowed to speak to another woman ever again. Minki goes to the girl, approaches her, like, hey, you, that's my man, hey, if you don't want me to rearrange your face, you better tighten up. Eric was literally so embarrassed because everybody, including his friends, were like, what's going on with your woman? Minki's proved Bonga right. And another thing I was asking myself is, why isn't this girl going home? Because like the following day, we see Eric busy with the client. It's a female client, and she was flirting, so the client was flirting, but Eric was able to nip it in the bud. But obviously Minki is, because she's insane, she goes off on Eric, steals his car, takes his money, and runs away. And I'm like, this is toxicity on another level. Like, Minki and Eric need to just break up. I was actually surprised because Eric goes to the police station to go and report the fact that Minki stole his car. The police laughed in his face and they're like, how did the tables turn? We actually discovered that Eric has a mommy issue. I was always like, Eric's temper and his anger issues are gonna be his downfall because he gets angry too quickly. He takes things out of proportion, and this toxicity with the Minkies. But then we actually find out that it's because of his mommy issues. So I'm like, oh, this is the stem of his anger. So it's because he has abandonment issues. So Minki is actually leaving him. He feels like it's like his mom leaving him all over again. So his mom left when he was young. He was shouting at his grandmother. He's like, you're gonna leave me one day. Minki's left me. My mom left me. So I really do hope we dive into that and actually get to the root cause of his anger. And he needs to go to therapy. He needs to go to therapy because as much as he's a good father, but he needs to show up as a healthy person for his daughter. In the long run, this is definitely going to affect Unqumisa. And lastly, Mpho. If Mpho has 100 haters, I am one of them. And if he doesn't have haters, that means I'm dead. Because why is Mpho busy playing happy family with the Palisa? He eventually admits that this is his child, but he still hasn't told Uzi. I applaud the fact that he wants to do the right thing and he doesn't want to abandon the child and wants to take care of the child. Why haven't you told your wife yet? The same wife that you're always bragging about her radical honesty. That time Uzitu is busy being a motivational speaker, promoting sex toys and sex books, being like, hey, my man, I do this for him. Yes, we had some problems along the way with infidelity, but I lays it down so my man is satisfied. Hey, hey. But your man has another child on the way with another woman before you guys made up. But still, like the fact that he hasn't told you that means that your relationship is not in the space where it should be. Like he's gonna spring this baby up on her. That's if he even tells her. Worse, he wants to support the child with Zitu's money and Zitu's income without her knowledge. He wants to take from the family funds. Mpho, are you mad? But Bonga advises him, like, Bonga can be sensible at times, not gonna lie. Bonga advises him and is like, you cannot take Zitu's money and look after this child, whereas Zitu doesn't know. You need to have a side hustle. You need to be making extra income so that you can provide for this child, but never Zitu's money, because that's going to be even more of a betrayal that now you're cheating has even more consequences, has financial consequences. Now remember, I said keep in mind the fact that Bonga didn't have 50k to borrow Vuyani. But now he's like, I will give you a contract, I'll subcontract to you, and you can come do the electricity at my project and I'll pay you. And he paid Mpho handsomely. Bonga, why weren't you giving Mpho a subcontract this whole time? Why weren't you giving him the side gig this whole time when you were starting with your tenders? Bonga, sometimes I don't know. But shame, he actually pays him handsomely. Mpho goes out and pays off Zitu's car, and Zitu was so happy, like they were debt free. That is a load off her shoulders, which I was very happy about, that he didn't just take his whole income and spend it on that baby whose name we still don't know, but he actually helped with Zitu in the house financially. So Zitu drops the fact that Umak G found out about her speaking engagements and her movements and wants to bring her on his podcast, Eat Podcast and Chill. And Mpho goes crazy. Like, he is Zitu's number one hater. I'm not even gonna lie. Because he's like, hi, what do you wanna go and discuss our marriage? Because now they're gonna ask you, who did you smash after you found out I cheated? That's gonna be disrespectful to me. Meanwhile, he's the cause of all of this. I doubt Zitu would actually go and embarrass Mpho like that. And you still want to cheat with Upalisa, and he actually ended up cheating with Upalisa. So he goes and he buys all these things for Upalisa and the child. He even brings a nanny so that Palisa's not overly stressed. And so I feel like because he paid this amount of money, which is the bare minimum because you are the father of this child, he now feels entitled to visiting and popping up whenever he wants without notice, as if Palisa's not an adult who has her own things. The nanny was there, so he could have seen the baby and left, but he stayed there to wait for Palisa. And then he's like, hey, Palisa, now he's busy acting like her man. Hey, Palisa, where were you with that guy that dropped you off? Are you sleeping with him? Hey, blah blah blah. Palisa's like, chill, you're not my man. But then she ended up folding, and then Mpho and Palisa have sex, which is like, what else did we expect from Mpho? But I'm like, Palisa, stand up, you're weak in the knees. He's never ever gonna leave his wife, and he's doing this to Zitu again. Like, it's a different story if Mpho had told Zitu about the baby and he wasn't still sleeping with the Palisa, but now he's sleeping with her again. Zitu needs to leave him for real. If she finds out about this, she needs to leave him for real this time. She needs to just divorce him this time, because it's never gonna end. And one thing about a cheater, you forgive them once, they're gonna cheat again, and you're gonna keep forgiving them because you've already set the standard and the boundary of, if you cheat, I'm gonna string you along for a little while and then I'm gonna forgive you eventually. I'm gonna fold. But yeah, guys, that was Adulting episode 3 and 4. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And I will see you guys in the next video.